Hey, what's going on? Jay Jingles here. Starting a new series called Why Draft. Why Draft. And the reason I wanted to start a series like this is because there's a lot of people that need help with drafting. And what do I start with? I hear it all the time. Like, why? Like, what do I start with? And it really comes down to a lot of different things. But I think there's some principles that we can kind of go over throughout this series. But I wanted to start with Ogerpon-Hearthflame. And we're just going to be covering as many Pokemon as we can. I'm not sure how many we're going to do. I'd like to do all of them, which is a tall order, but stick with me through all of it, and then we could just kind of refer back and see how they can be used, and a bunch of different options for that Pokemon themselves, and maybe some little tips and tricks that you didn't know that they could do. So, but let's just dive right into it. So why draft Ogerpon-Hearthflame? So I wanted to start with this one because I just won the YPL Championship with Ogerpon-Hearthflame as my first round pick. I actually don't remember which pick I had, because we had like, I think 12 players, and I don't remember where I was in the draft order, because this thing is pretty valuable. So if you are pretty high up in the draft order, like 1 through 4, I do think you have a pretty good shot of getting this. It is pretty sought after in some cases, but depending on which group you're playing with, they might value it more, or value some other things. Maybe Urshifu just goes regularly in your draft league, and so on and so forth. So, but in mine, Ogerpon usually gets not ignored, but it's usually undervalued, you know. But it's just, I'll kind of just go over what it can do and a lot of just traditional ways of running it, things that you might want to draft with it to make it more successful, and then just other kind of fun ways you can run it. So so let's just kind of dive in. So the first Ogerpon I wanted to touch on is just your standard Ogerpon, just Ivy Cudgel for the fire damage, Woodhammer for the secondary grass damage. Then you have your coverage move with the Stomping Tantrum, and then Spiky Shield, just the broken Protect. Protect being probably the most valuable move in the entire game. Now it's actually just a better version of it. There's no drawback. It literally just deals damage to your opponent. Fake Out is definitely something that you don't mind protecting in front of, because you know a lot of Fake Out users carry Focus Sash, and this just breaks it. So so right off the bat, having Spiky Shield makes it very good to begin with. It's not widely distributed. I'm going to say Glamora has it. I want to say Chestnut has it. This has it. And maybe like Toxapex, but that's Baneful Bunker, so maybe not. But yeah, Spiky Shield just very, very good, dealing 1/8 damage to your opponent whenever you protect in front of a contact move. So it's really cool. But the reason this thing is so strong is because your only Terra type you could possibly have is Fire. And when you Terra, it gives you the Hearthflame Mask boost, which is actually, it gives a 1.2 bonus to your fire move. So now your Ivy Cudgel is now, it says grass, I don't know why, it's technically a fire move on this set, but it's a 120 power move with that boost. And then when you Terra, you get the additional boost from Terraing into the existing type you are, as Terra works. I believe it's an extra 25% or an extra 30%, I don't remember. And then you get a +1 attack on top of it, so a 50% boost on top of that. So Ivy Cudgel, after you Terra, is one of the strongest moves in the entire game. It does neutral damage for days. It just does so much. And then, not to mention with these other moves, the Woodhammer gets the 1.2 boost from the mask. Stomping Tantrum does not, but usually the things that you can't hit with these two, not steel types, but like ground, like goes into electric types, and just so on and so forth. Like obviously the Ivy Cudgel can't hit the Heatran, so you have Stomping Tantrum for that. But this is probably the most common set you'll ever see, but this is not the only set you can run on this thing. So you can run, and obviously this is just a max attack, max speed. It's usually pretty standard, but the same kind of concept, but with your EV spread, because you can run Swords Dance. Swords Dance giving yourself a +2 attack. It allows you to run a healing move as well and run a little bit more bulk, just in case you want to, just hitting that 1/16th benchmark on the HP, and then just raising the attack as much as possible. But even so, Ivy Cudgel just does so much naturally. You don't really have to worry about, you know, having your attack maxed out and so on and so forth. So you can run this, and then just, if they try to switch on you, or if they try to like Terra, you could just go for a Swords Dance, and now they're in real trouble. Now +2, and then when you Terra, you get to +3. Swords Dance also gets around Intimidate if they want to like lead an Incineroar or something. They're probably not going to fake you out because of Spiky Shield, so a free Swords Dance you know, you get a Swords Dance off, the Intimidate goes off, now you're +1, you can Terra, now you're +2, and now you're you know, dealing with the back row. So I do think having Swords Dance as a setup, it's a little hard to get off. It's not the bulkiest Pokemon. It's got bulk if you invest in it, but it's not the bulkiest Pokemon. It's usually meant to just do some damage. So, and we'll get into the supporting partners for this thing to have success just after this. So that's another set you can run, the setup version. Another one you can run is, actually, this isn't actually just a set. I just wanted to put the coverage that it gets as well, just in case you didn't want to run the Stomping Tantrum. And I know in draft, a lot of the times you try to go after quad weaknesses or defensive Terras or something like that. Terra Dragon, I know, is a really good thing to go against an Ogerpon because the 2 stabs are resisted, or just a fire type in general. So that's why you have the Stomping Tantrum. But in this case, Dragon is usually pretty good into an Ogerpon, so you can play rough. +1 play rough, I would imagine, does a lot of damage. Knockoff is another one, just some utility. You can run it on that support set, which I'll be getting into in a minute anyway. Superpower, just in case the fighting move, it is 120 power, so it just makes it so it's kind of like a hit once, and then, you know, if you get your +1, you go back to neutral, so it's not bad. So it's just in case you don't want to hit something with your fire move or your grass move, you can just hit it with superpower. And surprisingly enough, I have quick attack on here. There is not a lot of priority on something strong like this, so you could get the +1 and say you knock something down to Sash and it's faster. It's like, okay, well, great, now I'm gonna get like a move off or something like that, maybe to pick you off. I know that Talonflame might be in a situation like that. It is a little bit faster, but you can just quick attack and pick it off after, right? So I think there was a common one on, was it Wolfie that ran quick attack on his Terrakion? I think that was it as well, getting the +4 from the, we're not getting into justified stuff. That's that Pokemon. We'll do that one later. Yeah, these are some 4 moves that you can run as well on this set that could be really good. And then I kind of want to go through this a little quicker than this. I'm just kind of fanboying over Ogerpon right now because it just won me a championship. And then you got your Ivy Cudgel, Hornleech, Follow Me. One of the big things you want to draft Ogerpon for is its utility, right? And we're about to get into that in the next 3 sets. Ivy Cudgel, obviously, is just super strong. Hornleech, just for stab and some healing. And Follow Me. Follow Me can save you. There might be one week where you're just like, they have so much upfront offense, say their speed is faster than the 110 base, and you're not going to be able to get a hit off. So you could just go for a Follow Me, or they might tail one. You could just redirect it, build more of a bulky spread, and then just have Follow Me. Especially if like you have something next to it, say like a Hydreigon or something like that. You want to redirect the Moonblast. Well, this is a great redirection of Moonblast. Unfortunately, Dazzling Gleam is a thing, but at the same time, if you can spec your Hydreigon to survive a Dazzling Gleam but not a Moonblast, you could just Follow Me and then you're good to go. You know, like, you're going to take the hit anyway. So that might be another way you can go. Even that might even just be to get your Tailwind up. Just Follow Me, Tailwind. Now the next turn you can both go on offense. So that's another way. Follow Me just being so great, especially in Draft League. Like more support. We do have the same set with Encore. Encore is a very scary move to face. Protect at your own risk. Encore, you could just lock people and just completely end a game. If they have 2 Pokemon left in the field and you haven't revealed Encore yet and they protect in front of you, Encore it, now it's a 2v1 because they can't do anything for the rest of the game. So Encore can be devastating. One of the most underrated moves in the entire game, Encore. And then the last set, I just threw 4 support moves on here that it can get, just in case you wanted to add it to a set. Helping Hand is super great, just in case the matchup doesn't look good. Maybe your Terra's already been used, and you're stuck with your Fire and your Grass, and you're facing a Dragon. You could just Helping Hand your partner just to boost their damage. Like, Ogerpon might not necessarily need to be doing the damage in this situation. So Helping Hand is another very underrated move. Taunt is another one. Stops Trick Room. Stop setup, a lot of different things. Like maybe they're expecting, you know, maybe they want to go for a defensive Terra and then a Dragon Dance or something. So you're facing a Dragonite, you could always just taunt it. And now it just can't really do a whole lot, and they're in a bit of trouble. Just in case you didn't think this thing could do anything, everything, Low Sweep is also a really nice utility move as well. 65 power fighting move, not the strongest, but at +1, it could just be the fighting coverage you need, right? And it adds a bit of utility for the speed control as well. Say you have a partner, maybe like a Primarina, or maybe you have a partner like a Toxtricity or something that just isn't quite fast enough, but Ogerpon is faster than the thing that threatens it. You could Low Sweep it, and now the Toxtricity can get its move off just for some big damage. And then U-Turn. I have U-turn here because on certain teams, pivoting is very important, especially on balanced teams. Just switch, and just grind down, just get position, grind them down, and then you'll usually win 1-0 or 2-0 or something like that. You're not going to blow the doors off with a balanced team, but I do think Ogerpon with U-turn is very, very nice, and that finds its way in a lot of different teams. So those are 6 different sets you can run. There's a lot of... The thing I like about Ogerpon as well, because you can run a different set every single week. Some people say, oh, well, you can't defensively Terra. Well, do you really need to? Fire Grass is an amazing typing. Absolutely amazing. So that's another just reason why it's very good. So those are the sets you can run. Best partners. So different ways. I'm going to get into the ways that you can make Ogerpon successful. So one of the things to support a Pokemon in Draft League, just having on your roster, is switch-ins. And also being able to cover defensive Terras and defensive switches into your Ogerpon. So I actually came up with this trio maybe about a year ago, and I've used it twice now. And the first time I used it, I finished second in a league. And the second time I used it, well, we all know how that ended. I ended up winning all of it. So the proof is in the pudding. It is, I've had success with this, and I swear by it. I've talked to people when they faced my team. I said, hey, how did prep go? And they go, Ogerpon, Primarina, and Sandy Shocks. I can't deal with all 3 of them. You know, like, so positioning is just, well, because Ogerpon, what's it weak to? It's weak to rock, poison, and flying, right? Well, Sandy Shock switches in on all of those things. Primarina switches, it's able to hit the things that Ogerpon can't. So fire types with the stab, of course, obviously you have the coverage. You can run with Stomping Tantrum, but Primarina can go after the dragons with Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam. And it can go after the fire types with Hyper Voice and just the other water stab it gets. And same thing with Sandy Shocks. Like, you can go for ground moves, electric moves, like water moves. So it's not water moves, into water type Pokemon. So these 3, try to find trios and switch-ins for each other. Because even Primarina, what is it, weak to grass? Well, you have a quad resist over here. Weak to poison, you have a poison resist over here. Electric, you have 2 resists here. So it's these 3, they cover each other so well, and there's so many other combinations out there that so try to find your combination. So if there's one Pokemon you want to build around, just try to find the best partners for it. So just check this off on your list. You want to be able to cover the things your Pokemon can't hit, and you want to have switch-ins for the things that hit it. So, and also another thing too is what also beats Ogerpon? Something faster, right? Well, now you have Booster Energy. Oops. Typed that in wrong. Wow. Booster Energy, and then you also have Electro Web. Look at that. So now you have your speed control next to your Ogerpon just in case. And even if they have Defiant or something, you can just run Thunder Wave. So it's almost perfect. Like, I'm trying to think of something that could beat these 3 comfortably. Maybe Trick Room, but Primarina you can run Min Speed, and it's slow enough that it can... So it's a really tough trio to deal with. So, and it doesn't necessarily have to be these 3. Here's a couple of other ones as well. Like, what else beats Ogerpon? You should be asking these questions as well. What beats the Pokemon you're trying to build around? Well, the one problem I had with Ogerpon was Intimidate. And I couldn't get myself competitive or defiant Pokemon. Something to deter intimidating. Like, get something to think about. It's like, oh, I can't intimidate this thing freely. Is because I have to watch out for my Milotic with competitive or Annihilate with defiant. I didn't have that. It would have been nice to get that, but it was more of a secondary thing that if I could get it, great. If I couldn't, then so be it. But yeah, those are definitely things that can, make them think twice about doing that, or even Breaking Swipe, Bulldoze, just things that lower the stats. Like sometimes you can Bulldoze in front of a Ogerpon, because you're like, I don't even care if it gets the +2. I just need to go faster, and then I can KO it with my partner Pokemon and go on with that. Rock Slide spam is really good into Ogerpon as well. Rock types, not even necessarily rock types. Like if you're facing like a Garchomp, Ogerpon hits it neutrally with its grass, but Rock Slide really hurts it back. So how can you deal with Rock Slide spam? Wide Guard. Wide Guard's very, very nice next to this thing. Spread moves, especially with the Follow Me. Your Follow Me is useless next to spread moves, so Wide Guard can definitely step in and take care of that. And then the last thing I want to mention with Ogerpon is a lot of you can only single target attack with your Ogerpon. So what you can do is you just run Feint. That is a free damage into the slot you would target. Faint into the slot, Terra, Fire, and then go for your Ivy Cudgel into that slot. Guess what? It's probably dead. Faint breaks the sash, and then Ivy Cudgel just deletes whatever remains. So that was the one devastating thing about Ogerpon when it first started in VGC was resisted hits. You could defensively Terra, like say for example your Terra Water like Goldengo or something. If you go for a Terra Fire, Ivy Cudgel, maybe the Sun, maybe Helping Hand, whatever it might be, it's probably doing 80% to it. Like, it's not much of a defensive Terra when you're taking that much damage. So that was the other reason I wanted to draft it, is just neutral damage is just so important. People have a hard time playing around neutral damage. So I figured Ogerpon would be a great start. And these are all the tools that you can use to make it successful. So why draft Ogerpon-Hearthflame? All of these reasons. Super strong, versatility with offense, defense, support. You can find partners that are, pretty good beside it. There's a lot of them. And then you just add a couple of tools to make it as successful as possible. So thank you very much for watching. That is episode 1 of Why Draft. And this week is about Ogerpon. And tune in for the next one. I'm going to be covering as many as possible. And I don't necessarily know which order I'm going to do it in. So if there's a Pokemon you want me to cover on the next episode of Why Draft, post it down in the comments and I will cover it. If you ask for it, I'll do it because I don't really have any particular order I want to do this. There's so many things I want to tell you guys why you can draft and how you can use them. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.